So, ladies and gentlemen, today on the show we have Ren
Yo.
from Singapore,
Yes.
and I invited him because he has such an interesting story as a kind of transformational story. He was working in the oil business and then he realized that something doesn't feel good for him, and then he ended up studying in Germany,
Yeah.
and because of some courses and an internship he ended up in Wageningen too, like
Yeah.
most of us. Cool. And you are pretty much into self-exploration,
Yep.
and you are kind of in somewhere in between in your metamorphosis from oil guy to something else, and somehow similar to my position, like I'm also like figuring out what would be the best occupation to do
Yeah.
if you don't want to
That's true.
grow soy and or sell some sugary stuff or some
Yeah.
snake oil. What else can you do in this world? And yeah, let's see
Yeah.
what brought you here. What were the steps? So you were in the oil business, right?
Yeah.
What people can do in the if you were not working on the oil towers,
Yeah. Oil rigs.
rigs, the
Yeah.
rigs. What else do people do in this? I guess it was a huge skyscraper where you worked.
Also, yeah.
Yeah. So what jobs can be found there?
So before the oil crash in
Yeah.
2015, 2014, they would own multiple floors of the building,
Yeah.
like any big company. So your 10th floor is your marketing, your 14th floor, your engineers, your blah, 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 and so
Yeah.
on. And then the bosses sit on another floor
Yeah.
or sit in another office in
With a
Dubai.
penthouse.
Yeah, they really had penthouses.
Yeah.
Easily, I think some of them 30, 40 grand a month,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then wherever they go, they fly their family, and it's quite, like this. I think everybody is there just to make a living,
Mhm.
yeah. And
A good living.
some of them,
Or decent.
because some of them were like the deckhands. That's kind of like the sailor deckhands. You just
Mhm.
clean the thing, you
Mhm.
welding or something like that.
Mhm.
And people from different countries have different contracts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Europeans were like, no, this 12 hours is my shift is over, then
Yeah.
fuck you. The rest of them like, oh, double shift, yeah, okay, like, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. We have no choice, or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff happens a lot.
But you worked in the office.
I
Or-
worked in the office and on the rig.
Oh, okay.
So
As an
so
engineer or
as a project planner.
okay.
So there's every now and then these things have to come in to be maintained.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we have to plan the that becomes the project, the maintenance, what needs to be
Yeah.
done, what needs to be done to meet certain criteria and to please like the client or whatever, or to meet certain standards and this. So
Yeah.
you plan that out. So because sometimes you're working on one part of the rig, you cannot do other stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And
So it's a complex job to plan it out. Yeah.
yeah, and your clients are like, one of the clients was like a country, because some of these Asian countries, the oil companies are government run.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like this. So your clients are like, government people and the petrol companies that work for the government people.
Yeah.
So and every day there's a delay. It's a few hundred grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility. Yeah.
And it's always delayed. Like
Yeah.
I think like the contract is maybe, I think 250 grand a day.
Yeah. Wow.
If there's 1 day delay, a 4 day delay, maybe $1 million,
Hmm.
and someone has to pay for this.
Yeah.
And when you hear the bosses talk about the project, they're like, yeah, this is like 20 million plus minus 1 million, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, plus minus 1 million. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like how often you
Yeah.
in your own life, like, yeah, you can take this plus minus 1 million,
It's someone has to negotiate on that level too.
Yeah, but like you get to see that was cool for me. Like,
Yeah.
this is the place where people talk like this.
Yeah. And was
Yeah.
there a clear career path? What led you to do this kind of job?
Because
Or, I mean, you grew up, or you were a child, and hey, I wanna work on oil in oil business.
it was actually very for me, a lot of my life choices tend to be how you say, serendipity. You know, yeah. This guy, because I used to go to Vietnam a lot. I was there for my first internship, and how you say, we went there a lot for. I played shows there, gigs, yeah, with a band, and I had a friend with a father there, blah blah blah, and then he just this guy I played one show with him before in the same band, and he called me like, hey, you've been to Vietnam, right? Do you want a job there? And then like, yeah man, sure, why not? And then he said, okay, we'll call you. And then like a month passed and nothing. They're like, oh, maybe it's gone. Then they said, hey, can you come tomorrow for an interview at 8 a.m? I'm like, oh wow. So just I said, yeah, do you know how to use this software? I'm like, yeah, sure, it's Microsoft something. I'm sure I know it. Then after that, like, oh, I don't know this program, and I went to watch videos of it in that one day. Yeah. And as I was driving, I had my laptop open, and I was just like listening to the YouTube how-to video or how to make a critical path. They're like, oh, okay. And then when I got there, and I just like fake my way in. Yeah, I know this, blah blah blah. And then I got the job. And it turns out I was the last person, because I was the youngest. I had no experience offshore, no experience in oil, but I was just like super cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that happens a lot.
Yeah. And like the next person before me, who was a little bit more qualified, he asked for double of what I asked for. Yeah, and I didn't even know what was the pricing. Yeah. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun stuff like that. But it was nice because that industry is actually full of really smart people. Yeah. In the offices, you have engineers and they're really smart, and you have this office people, and that's where I learned a lot of office politics and people management, how to get things done softly, that kind of stuff. But on the rig, which is I much prefer being outside than inside an office. Yeah. So walking around, but those people are like sailors with degrees, so they're very rough. Yeah. They're like, hey, fuck you, blah blah blah, and then I can swear, right? This thing. Yeah, fuck. So it's too late anyway. They're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, get this fucking thing done, and then at the end of the day, we're all still friends. So after the 12-hour shift, after like fucking each other for 12 hours, we're like, yeah, hey, let's go eat dinner and have a beer or apple juice, as they call it. Because on the bill, it's always like $30-$40 of apple juice.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so that's where I first saw like, the way people treat money was a bit different. Yeah. And like, for example, if you want to get a document to the other country's office in the quickest time, what would you do? They would send the secretary on a plane with the document. If that flight was earlier than like postage, so that's mad, right? Just bring this there.
Yeah, but I guess there were important documents.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, yeah. Also, like I said, the time is money thing is very real there. Yeah. And they just had money, so like you need this, you have it. If you need it, just tell us, then we'll get it. Yeah, that kind of thing. And I learned a lot there. I learned how to prioritize. Because you need to just get things going and moving, and it was a good experience.
And for how long
maybe
did you work there?
1.5, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 year was in an office, and about half was in like the shipyards and on the rigs. That was quite nice.
Okay, and then you had a realization all of a sudden. You woke up, what happened?
I used to be like a Captain Planet kind of person. I was very concerned with like recycling, even when I was young. Mm-hmm. But the people around me didn't really care. Mm-hmm. Like I would always be the one turning off the lights and like turning off the tap, telling people, hey man, you don't need to brush your teeth with that thing on. Yeah, that pisses me off. But so I went in, and a lot of it was like the money was not so bad. even though I was the lowest paid person there, it was still good.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it bought the money kind of bought a lot of freedom from certain anxieties. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of the people in my country have regarding money. It's like, you know, because everything is expensive, everything is imported. You just need this money, yeah. And when you have money, when you go to the ATM, you press and oh, there's something. It's nice. You press, there's money. You go back next month, there's more money. That feeling gives me
Confidence.
some less anxiety. I wouldn't even say confidence. It's not like I had the money to like to do whatever, but you know. So and my parents were less worried.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this kid has a job, even though it's not what we thought it was. It's okay. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And then, over time, I mean, I saw when I was on the rig, I just saw them like just dumping shit in the water, and you know, you see how just like paint is coming off the thing that they're welding in the water, and things just drop in the water, right? And you know, living things live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just the shipyard part.
Yeah.
And they showed us a safety video of an exploding rig. Then you're like, okay, imagine it's in the open sea and it's freaking exploding. So that kind of thing we see a lot.
Okay, but then what was the turning point? You were feeling this kind of safety that, oh, I have enough money to actually have the next step in my life, and it was, I don't know. I mean, what was the process that you? I mean, how old were you back then when you
maybe 27,
so
28.
at 27, 28, most of the people want to go further with their career, but you decided to come to Europe and Germany.
No, actually before that.
What was that?
I went to Taiwan. I lived in a farm, like a permaculture. It's a yoga eco village, and
but then
there was this
reverse again.
Okay.
Like, okay,
from there to there.
One day you were working in the oil rigs, and
So
fast forward, what happened more or less?
There was a big crash, 2015, 2016, because the oil prices just went very, very low, and then so overnight, 10 million people like lost their jobs. Like a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of offices closed in Singapore because there's actually nothing there. It's only services in Singapore. So like the office I was originally with, they all shut down, and you either had to go to Dubai or not. For me, I my contract just happened to end also, and it was at the same time. So I extended just for like a month or two, and then I thought I have to do something else. So it was just nice. Like my contract is also over. Yeah. But I didn't want to do that again. I wanted to. I was also not in a very good healthy state. Like I have this autoimmune thing. I've told you before, like and my skin and everything. So I decided to fix my health. I put my health as priority. And I just tried to find all sorts of way to fix it. And then so it led me to go to Taiwan.
Can you move a bit from, because your chair was
okay, rubbing the table. So I went once for this detox thing, the yoga detox style, where you know drink a lot of salt water flushing for like a week and fasting, and then like there I felt a bit better. So I learned a bit more of that stuff, and then I went to that place to volunteer, and then got kind of like a job there, and I stayed on for half a year in that place.
It was paid, or it was kind of a woofing, like be there and get accommodation?
It was minimally paid, but there was accommodation, and at that point I just I didn't want to be in the city anymore. I felt like the air is bad. You go up there, it's like kind of up a mountain. You have your food is grown right there. Everything is.
And your health became better at that point.
I think
had
it's
less symptoms.
It's questionable, I think. But I did feel better. But I'm not sure if I really got better. that I don't know if I can explain it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but if you think about that, if you don't want to tear apart mind and body or soul and body, then many sicknesses are more emotion based.
Yeah.
So if you felt good, then it's already
It was
Yeah.
I felt like the quality of life was better for next to almost no pay. There was some, but really not much.
Yeah.
I think I was reading up on permaculture and
Yeah.
and I had this like dream like restore lands, because over there we have this yearly event which is like a haze when Indonesia starts to burn the rainforest
Jeez.
to grow more palm or whatever. So they just burn it and then the wind just blows it past my country and Malaysia, and every year we get this and we're just like yeah.
Wow.
And so even before, like, I was influenced by this Captain Planet stuff, so I thought like I want to learn how to regenerate broken lands, like destroyed lands.
And in Asia, there is a common belief that if it's something about regenerating, and there should be something in Europe, or you just found it that on the internet that in Germany there is a course, or how did you end up, or what is the belief, or what is the perspective of Asian people about these environmental things and permaculture and where to go to learn whatever, like in general?
Back then I didn't see so much. There wasn't much going on in Singapore.
It was like 3 years ago,
so
3-4 years ago. Time flies.
5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't hear much of it in Singapore because Singapore is not very agricultural. We don't have land to do this. There is some, but less than 0.5% maybe. Less than 1%. So.
But I mean, you
I don't know how I don't know how I got into it. That, like, going to Taiwan, where I lived on that permaculture farm is where I got more into it, and almost went to get the permaculture design course and everything, but didn't have the time. Like, the instructors were not there, and some things didn't work out. But I'm trying to remember how I came about this. But I think it's because I went for this detox thing in that place, and then I got introduced to it more there. Yeah, so that's where I got picked it up more, and then after that I went to like the Philippines, tried to do this health food thing with like a similar, it's the same umbrella organization. It was a yoga organization. So we tried to sell healthier food to the people there, because Philippines is one of those places hit really hard by like diabetes and heart disease. It's very Americanized in that sense. Like, there's all fast food, and they drink hot drinks out of plastic and things like that. You can see the I think hormonal effects from that. And they're not so
conscious.
I think they're not so conscious. And in Asia generally, everyone's just trying to live, and the people who are already living in the rurally, they're just happy there. Most of them, and but because of big interests, big agriculture, so you have to compete on pricing.
I know.
So that thing is messing a lot of stuff up. So there is a lot of consciousness of people taking land back, or like making growing organic and trying to push for these things. But in general, there is not enough maybe spending power to consume that way.
Another thing is rural life is much more different. I mean, the whole supply chain can be shortened, but from the moment people move to the cities, then it's all about mass production and supermarkets. I guess I know that for example in Vietnam there was a trouble, or also in India, the supermarkets, they are not spreading that fast as they could be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how is the supply of the bigger cities in. I mean, I guess in Singapore is pretty developed, but I don't know in other parts of Asia how does it work in bigger cities.
The big cities are the same. I
The
think.
same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still like lots and lots of people just moving into the city,
Yeah.
causing all kinds of overcrowding, traffic
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah, but my question was
And-
about the
and
supply.
The supply chain
Was
is
supermarkets or street vendors?
both.
Both.
Yeah. It's especially you go the further out you go from the center.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they still because I think like places like Singapore, the only reason you don't have a street vendor is because of the inspection, like health inspection and
yeah.
things like that. But in the other cities, like India, Thailand, they don't care. Vietnam, they don't care. You eat your noodles on the street, your coffee you get on the street. You can get it at the coffee shop,
Yeah.
or you can just get it on the street, and to me it's the same. Yeah, it's. I think it's nice that way. Like you. But of course you can get really sick. It's very hard to say.
Yeah.
The nice thing about I think tropical places is that you can buy fruit, vegetables all year round, so you can really get them on the street, and you don't need to worry so much. It's probably very fresh.
Yeah.
And it's kind of safe. Like the fruit is wrapped in its own skin, right? So the thing is like imported stuff. Yeah. So in Singapore, it's because I think the government used to do a very good job. So legacy wise, so now the people just keep continuing to trust them, and so the government says it's okay. They let us sell it, so it's okay, and so far it's fine. And they make they made the tap water drinkable. They make all the food that you buy is usually fine, and if something goes wrong, you publicly see someone pay for it, you know. So there's that. So in Singapore, it's I would just assume it's kind of Western in that sense. Like here, if something goes wrong in the supermarket, there is some explanation. I hope. but I can imagine if in another place, if it's like a small supermarket chain, you might not hear anything, or people might not know to complain, or
Also, I also don't want to glorify the Western supermarket chains, because also I guess they are also somehow present in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And also, for example, it's just a European example. They sell the same products with the same labels and the same name, for example, in Austria and Hungary. And people who commute between the two countries, they figured out that there is a lot of quality difference between the two products sold in the two countries.
But the labeling is the same.
The
ingredients are the same.
The labeling is the same. There is some difference with the ingredients, and there is some difference with the price. So sometimes in Hungary it's more expensive and the quality is worse than in Austria.
Yeah. I've heard of my American and Canadian friends tell me a lot of these things also. Like a lot of the things in America probably you can find it in Canada, but with minus 11 ingredients. And different taste, different qualities, different. So I think the supermarket chains really impact a lot. I can see a lot of the effort from all these organic people to try to get like shelf space, and but they have to. The supermarket makes you commit sales, right? And like, where do you want your thing, on which shelf, and all these have different conditions. If you want, you can put your stuff in the supermarket, but it's like feet level, and then nobody sees it.
And you figured out these insights in the last couple of years since Taiwan, or
and Philippines,
and here, or you were aware about this stuff already before a long time?
Because in the Philippines, we were trying to get some things onto the shelf also. Trying to get more people, trying to get like how you say, more awareness of these things. Yeah. So what were the ways? You
Mm.
approach a supermarket, you make your own market,
Yeah.
or you go to a farmer's market, some kind of existing market. You sell in offices or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So while trying these things, you realize that they come with conditions and prices, and yeah. So that's that. I also learned that in uni, my bachelor, because I was studying economics, and part of it was also some management courses. It's a management university,
Yeah.
so there's this. You have to take some marketing course, some
Yeah.
organizational behavior, some
Mm.
of these things, and then there was that. So then you can see it in real life, yeah.
Mm.
And I think I I just tend to look a little more, yeah. So always just all observing. It's more. It's like a double edged sword, right? I have very low attention span, but because of it, the number of things I see is a lot.
Yeah.
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 Like if there's a bird flying past the window, I'm like, oh, it's a bird, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then oh, what's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's also for me, also in this process of being trying to be aware of food in the last
Mhm.
5-6 years, but sometimes it's just overwhelming, like
Mhm.
especially when you hear a new trend, another opinion, when you think like, oh, okay, I figured it out, now I know kind of what my diet should look like, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got an insight from a trusted source, you know, not the mainstream, but someone who you listen to like online,
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay, let's try this, let's try that. But then if you look all of the aspects that you would normally consider optimal or ideal, then you don't even want to go into the supermarket, because you
Yeah.
just want to go crazy, like, oh, it's plastic, it's
Mhm.
whatever
I think that was a
processed.
big part of it, because
Yeah.
when I tried to prioritize my health,
Yeah.
and I also figured out after fasting that a lot of this is diet based,
Yeah.
and because, like, if I fast and I get better, that just means, like, it's what I'm eating. I'm guessing, right? And I give myself a break, but I started to check labels, because even started from buying skin products.
Yeah.
Okay, what's in this thing? And oh, yeah. Then how many of these things I cannot pronounce, and then and I start to read what they are, and
Yeah.
then how this is bad, this is like carcinogenic, blah blah blah. Don't use it, and this is all public information, but you see those same things in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like sugar, high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
It's just in everything, and everything has some little bit of soy, little bit of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, that stuff just made me really like. That's why I really like living out in the farm, because yeah, cucumber, no tomato,
Yeah.
ingredient tomato.
No label, but you still know
Yeah,
what is that.
yeah. Okay, what went into the soil also.
Yeah.
That's why I really like this like kind of farmstead, your own. When you eat what you
Yeah.
grow,
Yeah.
if you test the soil, yeah, you know what it is.
I mean, that's the shortest supply chain that you
Yeah,
can ever have.
basically. I'm still dreaming about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's still
Okay,
my
so
plan.
you were in the Philippines.
Mhm.
It was also a year or so, or more than a
Maybe
year.
half a year, 7 months, something.
And
like
you
that.
were kind of figuring out what would be the next step, or
Mhm.
it was again
Yeah.
like waiting for the next serendipity to come, or
I happened to see this really flashy picture. I mean, if you see one day, there's the bioeconomy program of University Hohenheim.
okay.
It's this eye. It's a picture of an eye with the globe in it.
Hmm.
It's like, whoa! And I when I went there, I found out I was not the only one that was really attracted to it because of just this picture. So
Yeah.
great marketing on
Yeah.
their part.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this speaks to me. Like, it's we have to try to. It's like, this is the course of the future. It's like
Yeah.
really overdue course.
We should put this picture in the
Yeah.
description.
Yeah. It's really good marketing, and then they shape the future, like,
Yeah.
okay. So it was at the point, because even in Taiwan and the Philippines a bit more in the city but still lives outside.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was in too rural a place to change anything, to make much difference.
Mm.
Yeah. I thought like, I really like living outside quiet,
Yeah.
but you're not helping other people.
That's the interesting thing, is that those who can actually do the most influence on health and or entire food system, to make it healthy again and make it better, they actually need all of those skills and network what the city people have.
Yeah. Very, very much.
And the city people, and with the networks and the marketing skills and advertising skills, they have all of that, but they don't have space to grow, and they don't have contact with nature anymore that much.
Yeah.
So that is somehow the combination between the two, what you or yourself is also trying to reach.
Yeah.
That's what I'm also trying to be.
And I think it's a bit healthier to. People always say, "Oh, be moderate," find the middle way.
Yeah, but it's the
But-
middle way.
Yeah, but like I think like you only know the real middle if you go to the end.
Yeah,
And
to
then-
both sides.
To both sides,
Yeah, yeah.
So work in the bank, work in oil, and then go into the farm. You try fasting, and you try eating a lot, and like okay, that I have a better idea of what's the middle way than just most people. Like I think it's like this because somebody told me this, and
Next
Yeah.
Monsanto work
Yeah.
apply.
oh man,
Okay.
maybe
So you found that nice picture. It was flashy.
Mhm.
And what happened in your mind? You applied, or
I
you
just
wrote-
applied, and
Okay.
I just applied for this one course.
Okay.
I didn't think about anything else. I was like, if I get in, I'll go.
So that was already a university course,
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a university course
Okay.
in Germany, and it was a nice
master
university.
module.
Master,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
about. I the course was interesting. Like,
Okay. So you ended up in Germany. How was the impression?
it was nice because it's kind of like here in Wageningen.
Yeah.
It's quiet,
Yeah.
and it's outside the city. You can go into the city 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
and then I was a bit older, like a lot older. Everyone, and people were like, "Oh, it's so boring here,"
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Yeah, it's nice. It's really quiet. You can hear the birds in the morning.
Yeah.
You look out. There's greenery and fields,
Yeah.
and I was really like, oh man, everything was cool because everyone is doing something, and I can summarize the course. Generally, it's like everything now that you make with fossil fuel, you try to make it with something else.
Yeah.
With microbe, algae,
Yeah.
plants, energy, materials. Essentially energy, materials, pharmaceuticals, all these things that you make with oil. Yeah, just fucking do it with something else.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then you also have to learn the economic aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like what makes something sustainable. It also has to makes economical sense.
Yeah.
And it was like before this, I had this feeling also, and I kind of got clearer that actually the only reason that we're using oil is because it's cheap. It's only because it doesn't include all the cost of using oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a real cost, and you cannot, or they don't put it into the cost of it. It's like the super cheap meat in the supermarket.
It's the same
here.
with the food indeed.
Yeah.
There are many costs externalized what the society have to pay in
Exactly.
different ways,
Yeah.
with their environment, with their health.
Exactly.
And then they pay for whatever air filters and medicine.
Yeah.
And I've heard that in some of these Asian cities there are these air bars where you can just get into some bars to
Really?
to have to. I think in Japan or somewhere where they got this
Oxygen bar.
oxygen-
yeah.
oxygen,
I remember that
oxygen
was a
bars, yeah.
trend. I
Jesus.
think Michael Jackson was part of that trend. Like,
Yeah.
long ago. I was thinking about it, but I had this idea. I hope people steal it.
Yeah.
Is to have places where there are so many plants indoors that's a hyper oxygenated area, and then you can rent this out to these like rich parents who want their kids to study better or something, or some dude who's like, oh yeah, you can come up with better business ideas, just sit in this room.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not into greenhouse technology, but I guess the humidity is a bit, if you have full with plants, normally it comes in a closed environment with a high humidity,
Ah,
and it's not that fresh feeling.
true.
So,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. There was a Swedish building. They were trying to, one side of it, the side that faces the sun, is like all plants, and then the other side is the office. So the carbon dioxide from the office is channeled into there, and the oxygen is channeled back into the office. So that was quite cool, and hopefully they can do more of this.
Yeah.
And also, like the point you were saying, I started to know some of these people who were looking for, they call it champions, people who would bring forward the message of growing their own food, because like Singapore is like 90% import.
Yeah.
So even if we get like 5% more, 10% more, it's a big difference, especially in terms of food security.
Yeah.
In like our water, it's gonna be switched off the tap in 40 more years, because we import water also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that contract is not being extended.
Yeah.
So like, that's something difficult, I think. But so Singapore is that's why like working a lot with the Netherlands to deal with water issues, because these two countries have a lot of water issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality and supply and all this stuff.
But what?
So the thing about this guy, he was really cool, because he was trying to find to use all the roof space in Singapore, because that's dead space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really good idea, and I hope. And he was talking with the government, so like you say, he had these connections and everything. I just hope that he had found someone with the expertise to make it happen. Yeah. That's.
But what made you shift from food? Because I guess for 1 or 2 years after the oil, you were more into the food and lifestyle, and then you shifted with your master more into the fossil free. Just a question. I mean, if you don't know,
I don't really know, but I think.
I mean, this is the same world.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just a natural extension. I think.
I mean, if someone starts to get the principles of permaculture, it's all about this circular mindset and more human scale, or more kind of digestible scale, not like there is too much CO2 in this city. Okay, what can you do as a person? But I guess with the gardening, and also with these, how to change certain products to fossil-free products, then it's more like scaling down and seeing the small steps, like taking small steps towards a bigger, nicer goal.
More or less, yeah. I think like, I don't want the oil companies to have so much power. Yeah, then that's the only thing is maybe energy and the materials. If you can substitute energy, technically you can grow anywhere. Kind of like the Netherlands, just greenhouse. I mean, there's good and bad, but theoretically, you can, with lights, you have all the colors of the lights. You can grow nutritious food that does not require a lot of potentially harmful stuff, like the pesticides.
I mean, the biggest problem is with the monocultures and with the huge plantations. It can be the grains or whatever the plantation. When it goes too big, then
you will have those problems.
And also the cultivation is not human scale anymore. You need a lot of machinery, robotization, and that's why also there is a lot of land grabbing issues all around the world. So that's why people are going to the cities. The cities, often the narrative starts, the urbanization cannot be stopped, or the urbanization is just continuously growing and growing. and they don't start the narrative from the real beginning. It's just they just start with like, oh, people just go to the city because
Yeah.
who knows why.
They want a better life.
But they kind of forgot the fact that there's a lot of land grabbing, there's a lot of land issues, there is a lot of manipulation of how to suppress farmers,
Yeah.
and that's why people often then they lose their land. What else can they do?
They get in debt, right? To keep up. There's so many programs here that's like, we will help these rural people by introducing them to fertilizers and
Yeah.
and pesticides, and it's sponsored by this fertilizer company. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. And what's the future plan for them? Yeah, they'll buy from us,
Yeah.
you know? And then yeah.
It kind of summarized the business model, which is
a
kind
very
of
good
still-
business model.
still
thinking about it, yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they drive prices so low that if you don't have a machine, you cannot keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there was some lady contacted me about the Schumacher. There was a guy, Eric Schumacher, I guess. He was a German born economist who later became English citizen.
Okay, yeah.
He was kind of promoting the middle way to use smaller machinery, which actually eliminates the worst, very taxing jobs, what people don't want to do, or back-breaking jobs, but still have some machinery, but still have some work for the people on the countryside, so they don't leave the countryside. So this is the line what they are still working on, and is still valid until today.
Yeah, it's a very hard line because I mean, once you don't have to do something, I don't know where's the upper limit on the people's
Comfort.
comfort. Yeah. Or
Yeah, but
wants.
the question is, from the moment they cannot work in the countryside, they have to move to the city where it's much
Yeah.
more expensive, and then they have to work in a factory. I mean, the office work is also one level of jobs. It's also not healthy to sit all day. It's also not good. But the factory is another
Yeah.
soul killing.
Another backbreaking thing.
Yeah. So, have you heard the birds?
Yeah, nice. That's why I like this place.
So you were in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden Wageningen popped up somewhere on your screen, or you have heard from
Yeah.
someone, you met some hippies, or
Someone told me like, oh, hey, there you can have an exchange Erasmus or something,
yeah,
and it's now open for non-Europeans.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, cool. Like when I was around here, there was no Erasmus for non-Europeans like long ago. So now there is, like, cool. Then, and there's this fee in my state in Germany. If I'm not there, I don't have to pay this fee. So like, can save this 1,000 something euros. Why not?
yeah,
And so I thought like, this is a great school. Everything I saw on the webpage was cool, and I came for the greenhouse challenge, which is where I met Alex.
yeah,
Yeah. So we came as one of the finalists for this challenge, and then after that I stayed on for my exchange program here. Yeah, and it was nice.
Okay.
I just came because I didn't want to pay the fee.
Oh, you can be a bit more.
I'm pragmatic, man. I'm really honest about that. That was a big part of it, and yeah.
Okay,
why not
you
see-
came, but what is the takeaway so far from here? Besides the money, besides your savings,
I
what
think
was the other benefit of coming here?
you meet so many really interesting people, like jobs, like and I think because of its size, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
Like how I got to know you is only because I was walking around without a jacket, and everyone thought it was really cold.
Yeah.
Then this dude came up like, "Hey man, you should call this guy Schultz." And like, "Oh, cool." And then, they organize the greenhouse challenge. They organize, some other, and it's part of this ELLS, and
Yeah.
everyone's doing some really cool research. The thing I realize is that now there is so many things being researched. There's so many points, like how to make the world better, and but before that you learn about the SDG and all this,
Yeah.
and then you see people doing something really really freaking specific
Yeah.
in just a field, and then
And that causes sometimes the problem that we have so much very specific solutions to very generic problems.
yeah, some of it's like the work is fundamental for science. Yeah, I can appreciate fundamental work for science,
Yeah.
but yeah, that means you're still leaving application to basically entrepreneurs and social institutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that I got to see here, like how people support, like the city itself supports a lot of things. It's not perfect, but it's supporting a lot of environmental campaigns, like and how you can recycle stuff better here, and how you can reuse things.
So it shows a very good example to people
I
who
think
are open for it, because we also see that sometimes everything is there, the whole infrastructure to actually do recycling or be as conscious as you can, but still
yeah, it's nice to see like a place where like sustainability is almost like a norm here. Yeah, if this was scaled up to an urban place, like a bigger city, it would be very interesting. Yeah, so I didn't realize that that environmental concerns was not a norm, because I was just in my own body, and then but in the city in Singapore, in Asia, there's really very little concern, and other than the people who are very in touch with nature, which luckily they are, and they also they try to have a voice, but it's usually drowned out by the sound of like money. Yeah.
So we also kind of experience sometimes when even when you just leave Wageningen for a weekend, that it can be like, wow, I'm living in a bubble.
Yeah, for sure. There is this bubble effect here. That's it's cleaner, quieter, and people are just happier. In some sense, I think. And there's concern. There's like concern. Like you can feel it. Like oh, like can I don't have this in this plastic box? People bring their own containers. Yeah. And the thing is, this stuff used to be the norm before disposable containers.
Yeah.
So my maybe my grandparents, my parents, they have their own lunch boxes, lunch cases, and these things were common until you can just buy it and throw it away. I don't know where a lot of this awareness came from, but I think also but before that, another thing about Wagner was that there's so many things going on. If you want, there's actually stuff. There's actually things. Someone's offering a course somewhere. There's some kind of physical activity. There's some kind of cause. That's like there's always something going on, and so it's a very active place. But I think if after the first few months, I felt like if I go for everything, then I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to think about things I want. And then it's like the internet effect, right? Because everything seems cool.
Yeah.
And like but if I might miss out something interesting, until like I have to think about what I want to do, and the things like I need to do, those things take time also.
And the other thing is that it seems that it's super overwhelming and something is happening. It is true, However, in the end of the day or in the end of the semester, everybody goes home.
Mm-hmm.
So Wageningen for 2 months is a ghost town, and most of the initiatives which have started are, like how do you say it, like
Pause.
paused,
Yeah.
or some of them
Just die out. No?
just die out. So it's very
Yeah.
there is a lot of energy, but then it's
Yeah.
gone.
I can imagine how transient this place is.
Yeah.
Maybe we've also talked about that a little.
Yeah.
You've been here slightly longer, right?
Yeah,
Few
six,
years.
6 years, and it's like an
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah, yeah. It's
know?
like an airport, yeah. Basically, an airport city. I imagine a lot of places are like this.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, how long is a master's course? Or how long is
Yeah.
a bachelor course? Or
Maybe
whatever?
1 year for the courses, and the other year is internship somewhere else. So it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like me, I'm gonna go, and it's been a
Yeah.
few months only, but it's been a really good few months.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I remembered that ties a lot of the points you asked about earlier. When I graduated from my undergrad, I just took 10 days. I went to Vipassana. Yeah, and that changed a lot of things for me in terms of being aware of how you say your stimulus, right? So being aware of the inputs, what you're hearing, seeing, what you put in your body. That was like the kickstart to a lot of the awareness, and I eat this. Do I really feel good? I feel good now, but in 4 hours later, so I started to eat to feel better later, and that started to change a lot of things, and a lot of it was like I'm not really separate from other people, and making them better is in a sense helping myself. So there was this need to help other people in some way. I don't know how, but I just wanted to, I felt like if I can't fix myself, if I raise everyone else's quality of life, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
That was something that happened after Vipassana.
Cool.
And that was fun. And then that, I think, kickstarted everything else. Yeah.
Where are you now? What stage? You are doing your internship, right?
Yeah, I'm doing an internship.
And
it's
how is it so far?
It's quite interesting. It's plant microbiofuel cells.
Yeah.
So it's a spin-off company from one of the companies here, I think, in Wageningen.
Yeah.
And they have this project.
One of the chair groups, right?
ET, environmental technology.
Yeah.
They're called Plant E.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
plug. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they so it's still limited in the sense of what the thing you can use it for, because the power output is not super high. But they are testing this thing that's working here. They're testing it in places in Asia, the tropics, where it makes more sense, I think, because there is less temperature differential. Maybe the microbes work better, and it's just hotter, so there's more metabolism, and it doesn't freeze, so they don't. So there's like you get more constant power output, and you just need to figure out how to make it usable. How to harvest energy. I think it's super interesting for very rural places like rice farms or whatever. Imagine you can charge your phone with the with the bacteria activity happening in the rice in your rice field, as long as it's wet. So they have this project, and they're sending us there. It's me and another person, so that's fun for me.
Yeah, so you are in the middle of your internship, and the second half will be in Vietnam or Thailand? Thailand. Oh, nice. Another 3 months or so?
Till September.
Okay.
So from next Monday to September.
Oh, cool. So just right on time that you are here.
Yeah,
cool,
it's quite sad, because I thought I would have liked to be here during the summer. But I don't mind being there also.
Okay, and what would you advise to people who are actually in similar situation, that they don't want to stick into less fulfilling career paths, and they want to shift. And in their age, after 25 or after 28, close to 30, do you have some advice? I mean,
I don't know,
or
man,
insights. I mean,
but,
are you happy now?
I'm okay. I'm not. I don't know. I'm less unhappy.
Yeah.
Just say that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know what it means. Like, to be happy. Like,
Yeah.
There's a. I think I can live with myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can. I feel I can do more. So.
Yeah.
So that I do feel that pressure on that part. For me, it took a long time to deprogram or to break free of certain programming.
Yeah.
Because I can feel it very strongly, like the need to say please my parents or this stuff, and that's way more common in Asia, I think. Yeah, you have expectations on you, and it might. So
Yeah, but
here,
still, in the end, it's your life.
true. Yeah, I
So-
mean, you like you say this, and it seems okay for you to say this, but for us, it's like no. The smallest unit of the society is the family unit, and that's it's not the individual. Here it's the individual for sure, but then and the problem is like where I'm at is this intersection, and I am of the generation that is influenced by this. Oh, the individual is the unit that you should work on, but just before me it's like no, man, it's your family.
But
Blah,
there's
blah,
a
blah.
balance. Is it a balance somewhere? Maybe.
I'm finding it, and like it takes a you have to. I had to be pretty like, not brave, but I had the balls to tell my parents like, hey man, I can't do this. Like, this is not right. How here. I actually wrote them a really long letter, it's like 10,000 words, and then I had points. This is why you shouldn't eat like this. This is why this is not fulfilling, and this is not fulfilling. Like, and then I wrote a lot of stuff, and I was really dumb, I guess. And I wrote things like, if you're gonna break your heart, does it mean you shouldn't fall in love, and this kind of things. Yeah, and then I gave this to them, and then they're like, oh. It took a while for them to process also. And then I think only in the last few years, before I came to Germany, or like the year after I went in, they started to let go more. Like, oh man, this boy is actually really big, and this kind of thing. And I think the big problem with this is the way they treat me, is the way they do it. It's because the worst part is that it's all in the best intentions. Yeah, everyone has their best intentions. You
Indeed.
For sure they're not trying to fuck me over, right?
Yeah.
And then after a while, and I see it when my grandparents talk to my parents. They talk to them like they're children, and they're like 50, 60 almost, So and then obviously when they talk to me like, oh man, why are you talking to me like I'm a child? And then I see it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So this is a transgenerational thing, and it will happen, and and if you're not aware of it, or and I don't blame them, because they have had their own programming and struggles. They've done so much more than I think I can ever do. Like they are the generation that took care of their parents and took care of their kids, and I can't even like take care of myself in that sense. So they gave up a lot to make life happen for me and for other people, but I took the extra resource maybe to develop myself, and to find out about things, and because I don't have to take care of other people, so I cannot blame anyone for anything. And
but also if you talk about the family unit, then you are also the part of it. So it's not just your responsibility, but if they feel, they have the wisdom to feel what is good for you and what is not good for you, then they gonna extend
For sure.
this
That's what they did.
their love on
Yeah.
a way that give you more a place to move around.
Yeah. That took a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, and everyone is just speaking in their own language of love, which is very, very different. Like, for them, it's like telling me what to do in terms of like, oh, get a job, you need to work these parts of your life out, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's telling them like, you should be more concerned about what you eat. You should be more concerned about this. And then so we are just both
Everybody is good
using your own language to tell them, but they don't understand that language actually. Yeah.
Because for example, I can imagine that now your chances to move around in Singapore are much less with 5 million people than, I mean, the population is five and a half million.
Yeah, 5.5.
I guess when your grandparents were in your age, it was like 1 million or
perhaps. Yeah.
So also they have to understand this part, but now you have much more deeper understanding of how the food is being manipulated in their use. There was nothing wrong with the food.
Yeah.
So they program themselves, so you're gonna try to teach them or explain them stuff.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, but of course they made it, they still alive, so it means that they went through all of the challenges and you can learn from them a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of
I think
exchange.
I matured really slowly. I wasn't bright, but I didn't have the maturity to use my intelligence, let's say.
Yeah, because if like some parents try to overdo or try to give back to their children what they received from their own parents, and it ends up in pampering.
Yeah.
And then if you are pampered, then there is no real reason to mature.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I can also notice for them, actually, for them, comfort is really, really close to happiness. Like, chasing things of comfort is like a real goal. And it makes sense if, you're hungry, or if you have no house, or, you need stuff, like, your children are hungry, this kind of thing. I totally understand. Yeah, but I'm lucky enough to have the luxury to feel like comfort is not happiness. And from there we take different choices because we're not the goal is not the same anymore. The goal is not to have a nicer, more comfortable house, like a more comfortable car, or be able to numb your brain in a better way. Now it's like we go to find limits, find like the Poland trip, find places that we can grow in a sense. And and they look at me and why are you fasting, or they even told me once, like, why the hell are you meditating, what's the point, what's spirituality, you are 20 something. And then and I have no response to this because how do you respond to that? Like, why do you need this? You should be spending this time looking for, say, gainful employment in some sense. Then you will have your life sorted, and you can do this when you are 60 and you are retired. And I cannot argue that point without being very angry, so I try not to.
Yeah, but you actually also tried out the simple life in Taiwan. So you know that you were also content that way too.
Basically.
So in that sense, you can give up a lot of unnecessary, unpleasant workload, which would
Yeah.
make you miserable, and chase your dreams. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Man, it's an job interview.
No, it's just, it can go anyways. It doesn't have to be about career, location, occupation, what you do, family, whatever.
I have this this dream, this place I want to have, and it's like sort of a, I want to buy some land somewhere. So that's one part I need to figure out. And this time when I go to Thailand, that might be something I can do. It's like acquire some land, and either it's really shit and then restore it so that it's cheap, or it's okay and it's quite big and then I can develop it permaculture wise, but slowly, like not full time. Say I get a job doing something that I can live with, like some sustainability research in something, and then just every weekend just go work on that thing, right? And then get it so that one day it's like food forest and everything. But what I really want is to have this section where it's all really special plants, like
Self-exploration.
like plants of spiritual and medical value, let's call them. Imagine like you have this place in somewhere in Southeast Asia, and you have this like Bodhi trees and all this places you can sit and meditate, and like strange mushrooms, like some ayahuasca vine growing around it, different types of special cactus.
Have anyone tried to actually plant ayahuasca in the Asian jungle, like in a...
I'm not sure, but I think the way this works, right? I believe there is the equivalent here, because we have the
maybe
equivalent.
Maybe this podcast gets super popular, and all Wageningen experts in South East Asia start to plant ayahuasca.
Who knows, man? But I think the way they did it is like, for example, you have psychedelic mushrooms. It's dispersed all across the world. They're just different species, but they have the same compound in different ratios, right? And like DMT is in almost all living things. So some of the trees in the acacia in Asia, they have like in the bark quite a lot. So I'm sure there is a ayahuasca equivalent, but I just thought it'd be cool to have it. Like you can grow iboga, whatever. Just grow it. You don't have to consume it. But I think these things, like I've had this really hippie moment where I touch a big tree. I'm like, there's some energy here, and and this thing hopefully can last beyond me. And people can go sit there and do their work, whatever work they have to do. Like you can imagine you have a space.
Their botanical studies.
Basically. You have a space where you can have night studying. Different ceremonies. Like you open up the space to do that, or you can take it 10 days, because Vipassana in an area that's nice, and not too far away from the cities. That's the place I want to have.
1 hour drive or half an hour drive?
Ideally, half an hour by public transport, like a bus or something, like just, and then you're there. So I don't know. So I'm just trying to find where I can possibly do this. And the problem is a lot of these Southeast Asian countries, Taiwan, Philippines, and they have all these beautiful places, but foreigners cannot own land there. Or I would have done this quite a while ago. And the other options are like South America somewhere.
I'm not sure that if the governments or the authorities are appreciating the plants.
I mean, they won't know.
Okay.
To them, it's just fruit
we don't tell them.
Yeah.
We don't tell them.
It's just passion fruit,
Passion.
Bananas. There's nothing. No, that side is just. Don't go there.
But in Peru, it's totally a legit dream to have it. So.
I mean, for someone to own a land and just grow some of these trees have a lot of proper medical value. Yeah, like a neem tree, you know, those are cool. You know, just take them, just can study it. Maybe the university can study it or something, you know, because that now there is development in this. Like a lot of the things I was interested in, there was no space for it in Singapore.
Yeah.
Like I was always interested in consciousness expansion, let's say.
Yeah.
And there's really no space for it. But now, my friend just sent me a link, like Imperial University in UK. Yeah, they have their own wing, and it's under the medicine department. So like, it's legitimizing it slowly.
Dr. David Nutt and what the other guy is Dr. With an H, like Harvey.
I think so. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, there were a few.
Yeah, and also in the US, Johns Hopkins University.
That's
and
mushrooms and MDMA.
Yeah.
So there is this.
Yeah. I had it on my tongue. Carhart Harris. Dr.
Yeah. That's the Imperial guy.
Yeah.
So there's this now, which is I remembered a lot of my lectures in bachelor. I was just reading, maybe arrow it or something. Just like reading, you know. You didn't have to try it. Just see that, you know, these things help some way. They don't help some way, and it is. I think it's like wrongfully banned when it should be researched. When there's so much more bad stuff that's legal. Yeah, and if you can regulate that or regulate badly, that it's safer to regulate these things than to not have them. They're tools, right? They're really probably very useful tools. And so I want to get involved in this somehow. Like I'm a bit too late to be like a neuroscientist maybe, but yeah, who knows? Maybe there's some space where, like, if I can, maybe I can be in the agricultural production side of these things, and you know, learn how to grow them in a non-monoculture way, where it can benefit people. Yeah, so that was something that I've been thinking of for a very, very long time. And I think also maybe Terence McKenna might have had something like this in Hawaii. I don't know. In his house, I don't remember, but I might have heard that before.
Could be.
Yeah. So in his house there was a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. Cool. So that's where you see yourself
I hope
5 or 10 years.
Yeah. And when they stop this, they're currently reversing the wrongful, like illegalness of marijuana and all that stuff.
In the US, it's booming. It's like
so hopefully in Thailand, one of the first in Southeast Asia to, you know, like, hey, we can use this, and this is really like the like a, how you say, model of a bioeconomy, because you can make medicine, you can make materials. You can possibly make energy.
You mean from hemp?
From hemp, yeah. From hemp and the medical versions of it. Yeah. So it's nice to just be around this plant. It's really like, yeah, because we grew it somewhere. I've seen it around. Yeah, it's nice. Like, it smells nice. Don't even have to consume it. It's just nice to have. Yeah. So
to make T-shirt out of it.
Yeah, of course. Make some rope, canvas.
Or fuel.
Yeah. I think there's a big project called Grace, which is using miscanthus and hemp for biofuels and all sorts of stuff. So the eye opener here was that you can really almost make anything from plants, and actually it's not that these things are more expensive, it's that petroleum is cheap. It's artificially cheap.
And if you have a short supply chain from plant-based materials, then you cannot externalize so much other costs which are invisible with the oil. You don't have to
basically.
deal with the geopolitics and all of this.
Yeah,
Like run down entire countries just because we have to have our pipeline through them,
yeah.
or tribes or whatever.
Yeah, the geopolitics part is a real big thing that, yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? I mean, the biggest sharks put their money also behind the hemp in the US. So
Yeah.
if it will be run with the same attitude, then it doesn't really have. I mean, it
That
seems
is a-
nicer,
yeah.
but still, if it's with the same attitude and same practices, which are tearing down people, nations, whatever,
Yeah.
communities, then yeah.
That's the thing. But the only hopeful thing is that you can grow your own hemp. And with that, hopefully, there is the gateway to growing your own food and your own other stuff. Because things like, say, tobacco, it's really hard to grow your own yourself. Yeah, and like grain, right? You can't grow your own. You can grow your own grain, but just
What green?
grains, your own
Grain.
wheat or whatever,
Yeah.
you need a lot of
Yeah.
space, a lot of land for it to make sense. But
Yeah,
you,
maybe have
you can
to-
grow your own
yeah.
marijuana for sure. Because you use one plant is enough for quite a while. Yeah, you can grow for your friends. But I think people in Canada are mentioning like this is happening. There's oversupply and some big forces are trying to influence
Yeah.
the supply chain, let's just say. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, I don't know, hopefully like the fact that you can do it yourself is well known and it's practiced for a long time,
Yeah.
that people, if they see that it's getting out of hand, they can do something about it.
Yeah.
The only fear is that they make it too cheap, like, but then what's buying a few seeds.
Yeah.
Don't they can make it really cheap, I imagine.
Yeah. But I mean, not everybody needs it. It's just a question of the utilization in all other industries where it can be real harmful, real useful. Because I mean, getting stoned, it's maybe better than get drunk, but it's still not.
Yeah, it's not the ideal state.
It's not. I mean, yeah, it's just still I would more consider it to use for artists or more creative people, but it has more effects of pushing or numbing down emotions instead
For
of
sure. Yeah.
releasing them. But it's still better. I mean, when someone gets stoned, there's a less chance that they go home and hurt their family or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
So
For sure, a lot
in
less
that
violence.
sense,
Yeah.
In that sense,
A lot less, like drunk driving kind of incidents.
Yeah.
'Cause they drive slowly. They can't really see. I mean, yeah. So, like, we take these steps to reduce harm. Like, for sure, that's really good. I think why my country doesn't want it is because of productivity. Yeah. You know how
they
you
want
gonna-
robots.
They want high functioning robots, yeah. And they want, if you're an addict, you have to be a high functioning addict, or else you're just a loser.
Yeah.
So it's, I think it's just good to that is reversing, in the sense that we are reversing something that's kind of wrongfully criminalized for really bad motivations, and we can see it. And then like, hey, so this the start of the questioning of like, why is this criminalized, and then, so I like this as a start, and then
Yeah, but we don't even have to mumble much more on that. Anybody
No.
just look into Graham Hancock's TED Talk,
yeah.
what the War on Consciousness, and he kind of boils down the entire
Yeah.
discussion.
So yeah, that was a good talk, I remember. So I think once there's more awareness, hopefully I think that was what they were trying to do in the 60s, 70s. That's why they were giving it away on the streets, right? Trying to get people acid.
I'm not
to-
sure. I'm not sure about if it was kind of social engineering or was it more from love. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be both sides. I mean, in the end, it wasn't. It didn't end up too good.
Yeah, it wasn't organized very well. So it's good that we can learn from that, but we should not, ignore the tools
Yeah.
like psychedelics, like meditation, all these very old things that for some reason the general population doesn't use, right? Even though we just keep telling you like over and over, what do all these like successful people have in common? A lot of them meditate. And
Yeah.
and I tell my friends here, I tell some of these younger people, they're like, but my mind just does this. And I was like, that's why you have to do it. And I don't know why I got interested in it. Like how come, I don't know. So I don't know how to me it's like when I heard it, like you know this thing, you go there for 10 days, you don't talk to anyone. And first thing I said was like, this is fucking cool, I want to go.
Yeah.
And then I went and like, oh, it's really nice, and tell everybody, and they're like, huh? 10 days? And then I have to take 12 days off work, and I can't talk to anybody? I cannot read?
For me, it was strange. Like my parents were freaked out. Like, geez, you won't have your phone with you.
Yeah.
And like I was also kind of scared. Like, Jesus, what is gonna be? Like they really took in my phone. They really locked the gates. But the preparation, the whole process was kind of strange.
How did you find out about it?
Yeah, one of my friend is he's a psychologist. So he went on this Vipassana, and the next year I went too.
But did he need to convince you, or did like how?
He
how
told me that it's gonna be good.
And you
know?
just
I was always, I had this indecisiveness. On a way, I just wanted to get answers to my questions, and no one knew the answers. And most of the time the answers are coming from within. And actually that was a nice example of how I could reconnect with my inner self. But at the same time, or the same example with this being freaked out when I heard about the sensory deprivation tank. And when I went there, it was even in Amsterdam, so it was not in an unsocialized, some remote place, but I knew that I gonna be closed in a box or in a tank, so I called my friend back then, and hey, I gonna be there, that I'm there, here is the address. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be dark. It's gonna be silent. I'm gonna be alone in a tank. So who knows? If something goes wrong, maybe they just dump the people somewhere in the canals. So, but tell my family I love them. So these are like, although if you Google these places of Vipassana or sensory deprivation studio, it's like a sauna or sauna or
like a spa,
solarium, or how you call it, like
solarium, tanning studio.
You just go there, you are there for half an hour, and then you are out, or an hour, and then you are out, and it's done, and the next goes. But it was so much outside of my regular programming, But the same with the Vipassana. I should leave my phone. Jeez. My phone.
But I don't know, I never had that. Like, to me, when I heard about this isolation tank, I was like, I really want to go, and so I went. Like, the person who told me about the Vipassana, he hasn't gone yet.
Wow.
And he told me like 6 years ago, it's like, hey, there's this thing, we should go. And then like, I signed up, And
Yeah.
then he's like, oh, okay, I'll do it maybe later when I'm ready. And it's 6 years later and he's not
Yeah.
ready. So I don't know. I don't know how come I am interested in this. Like,
Yeah.
when someone said you can try this detox thing, it's fasting. Just
Hmm.
it might help.
So maybe, when I asked you about what can you advise to people who want to change the course of their life kind of intentionally, because they feel that it is not going in a good direction. So maybe this can we conclude as an advice to look into this self-help stuff on the internet, like from Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, all these people, what they are talking about,
for sure. Yeah.
and get into try with food first, sports, try out meditation, and then the rest will come itself.
I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just be careful of the internet.
Yeah.
Like, it's addictive. It's very
Yeah.
addictive. One click leads to another click, and
Yeah. I know.
so all the good stuff is there along with all the bad stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I took a long time to be aware of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just waste hours on the internet thinking I'm learning something, which is
Yeah.
true. Yeah, but are you retaining it? Are you using it? And
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
just like searching for more information. I've had
Yeah.
this like, I'm gonna download everything, download all these courses,
Yeah.
and then go through very few of them,
Yeah.
or even go through them and not retain a lot of
Yeah,
it.
and also like there are many gurus out there,
Yeah.
many online courses and workshops. Make your choice if you really want to follow someone. Listen some podcasts with them where they really explain, where they really
Exactly.
open their personality. Figure out if it's something for you or not, and don't buy in right away into some. Oh, by the way, I became a millionaire and I
Yeah.
have this course. Within 6 weeks, you're gonna have 1 million followers.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Uh,
I actually have something that might be a good illustration of this, and the point also is like, now the thing is now Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan, you should go, but maybe ask someone what are the episodes that really impacted them,
Yeah.
because now the amount of content they have
Yeah.
is so much.
Yeah, you don't want to listen to any local comedians who happen to be friends of Joe Rogan or some
Which happens
MMA
quite a lot, yeah.
or MMA fighters, and they talk about some local stuff. They have a kind of circle what some people know, but yeah, there are special episodes with Graham Hancock, Elon Musk.
Special people
Yeah.
saying really interesting things.
Yeah.
So I saw this like picture in a postcard, and I thought this really makes sense for what we were talking about. And it's kind of like this. I can show it to the camera.
I can show it, or you can show it.
Look, you can show it to that camera, maybe. So there's a lot of good stuff, but some things
Sometimes-
carry more weight than other things.
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah. So pick the material you study carefully, like you
Yeah.
were saying. There is a lot, but yeah, it's easy to get lost. Like the internet, I think what was really cool is maybe last time, when in the knowledge is power era,
Yeah.
that access to knowledge was the filter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's filtering though.
Now
or
it's
not.
the filtering is the real thing.
And also be aware that the self-help is also an industry.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to sell stuff.
Basically, yeah.
So-
It's yeah.
Don't forget to check out our web shop. Is coming up soon.
I wonder what Wachama selling, like a consciousness cup.
Yeah.
It just says drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a quite nice podcast, I believe.
It was a pleasure.
Do you have anything else to add?
Stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs. No, I would say just live like if you're like you're not sure what you're doing, technically that's your art, right? Your art is figuring out your life. Your creative output.
Yeah.
Might not need to be something physical or like a book or a song or whatever. Like the way you live your life is your creative output. And if you can look at it like that, then things become more of a process, and you get less stress about not having anything at I am this age and I don't have blah blah blah. So
So don't compare.
don't compare. Yeah.
If you feel it's right within. Oh, we are so wise. I don't know if we can release this episode at all. It's just so much wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm in a position to give any advice to people. Yeah.
Okay. Then listen to your heart.
Yeah, I guess.
How is this song? Listen to your heart.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So, peace out. Say bye to the people.
Have fun, guys.
Okay. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.